On May 1st, 1865, a group of over 10,000 people made up of mostly freed slaves with a couple of white missionaries staged a parade at the Washington Racecourse and Jockey Club in Charleston, South Carolina to honor the more than 260 Union soldiers that died there in a makeshift Confederate prison camp. Now, with 3,000 children carrying bouquets and singing, members of the 54th Massachusetts and other black Union soldiers marching, and black ministers preaching, if news reports were accurate, this would be the earliest known Memorial Day celebration on record. Now, sometimes called Decoration Day because decorating graves of loved ones was and still is a huge part of the celebration, Memorial Day was begun to honor the soldiers, both North and South, who fell during the American Civil War. Now, while we all know that Memorial Day is the day we remember and honor those that died while serving in the United States Armed Forces, most Americans have no idea when it started, why it started, nor some of the impressive soldiers that we should be remembering while we're manning the grill. From the 54th Massachusetts Volunteer Infantry during the American Civil War, to the U.S. Colored Cavalry Regiments during the Indian Wars, to the 369th Infantry Regiment during World War I, to the Tuskegee Airmen and the Buffalo Soldiers who helped turn the tide in World War II and beyond, African Americans have served with distinction in every major conflict the U.S. has been involved in. They did this despite being segregated from white troops and oftentimes given substandard equipment. It isn't just the men in combat either. Knowing how vital mail was going home for soldiers and faced with a backlog of undelivered letters, 865 black women in the Women's Army Corps 6888 Central Postal Directory Battalion, known as the 6888 and stationed in Birmingham, England, devised a system and got the mail to soldiers all over Europe, despite also enduring segregation and substandard conditions. It's not just black Americans that have made contributions. As many as 25,000 Native Americans fought in World War II, and the Code Talkers, members of the Navajo Nation, who often worked behind enemy lines, invented an unbreakable code that was used in communications. Despite facing distrust and internment camps, Japanese Americans volunteered to serve in World War II, and the 442nd Regional Combat Team was formed, becoming the most decorated unit in U.S. military history. All these people worked, fought, bled, and died trying to protect this country, even though sometimes this country didn't work to protect them.
No, I'm not going to use my First Amendment right and say the things I think and feel about this country because I don't want to be put on a list, and I fear for my life. Guys, if you're not on the list, I can't rock with you. Kill the fear inside of you and get on the list. What are you doing? You know what being on the list means? It means that there is concrete physical evidence time-stamped of this time right now proving that you are actively against all of the corruption and bullshit happening in this country. Why wouldn't you want to be on the list? Y'all have literally seen me say some crazy things here on this app. I'm still free. I'm still a free man. It's because I'm white, mostly, but I'm still free. Get on the list with your whole chest. Let's go, guys. Come on.
Kanye was right. Slavery definitely is a choice because why are you paying taxes? Why are you accepting the minimum wage being what it is in the conditions of your workplace? Why? Rent is going up. And it shouldn't. But you're going to pay them anyway. And you can't even afford to take care of yourself. All of these things are happening. And we're letting it. All of these things are happening. And we're letting it. Kanye said it was a choice.
Slavery for 400 years, that sounds like a choice.
What you were talking about is people making decisions that would enslave them financially and enslave their life.
And we're proving him right every single day.
Why are you going to work?
You was there for 400 years and it's all of y'all. We're mentally in prison.
Did you know that people are stealing from the freight trucks now? They're stealing from the trucks directly. They're loading them into vans, if I'm remembering right, waiting for the truck drivers to get into positions where there are less people around so that they could pull off these heists. It's good that they're doing that. I'm not going to be one of these people who's like, oh, well, I don't support that. No, fuck you. The law doesn't matter. You've taught us that the law doesn't matter. How many Americans, how many of you have been following the law? How many of you have been trying to do it the right way? How many of you have been following the law to the letter? How many of you have been doing what they tell you to do and you still fall behind? You work 2 jobs, 3 jobs, some of you even 4 jobs, and you still can't get ahead. While we look at the top of our leadership Democrats, Republicans, some independents. We look at judges. We look at the whole system. And what do we see? Rank and file corruption. We see illegal behavior, celebrated, cheating, lying, theft, greed, all sorts of things. That's the only way to get ahead. The American dream was never work hard. For people like me, we weren't born into a world where it was work hard, just keep your head down, follow the law, and you'll get ahead. No. We were born into a different world, and I think it's time people start realizing that, and I'm glad people are starting to realize that. We were born into a world where theft rules all, greed rules all, not following the law, cheating and scamming rules all. That's what we've been born into. So, it's not our fault if we act on this world. Maybe if they wanted us to follow the law, the pedophiles and the Epstein files would be imprisoned. Maybe if they didn't want us to believe that theft was necessary, they wouldn't have shut down the CFPB, which is responsible for making sure that wage theft doesn't happen. Ooh, who shut that down? Who was it? Was it the world's richest man shutting it down? I wonder how he got so rich. I wonder. Was it American tax dollars? Did he shut down childhood cancer research or drastically reduce the funding for childhood cancer research as the world's richest man? Did he kill you and take your health care away? Is that what he did? Was he lying, cheating, and scamming his way through? Remember, the Cybertruck was supposed to double as a boat. Remember, we were supposed to be on Mars. He's full of bullshit, and that's what this country is. It's nothing but bullshit, and anyone who can't see that it's bullshit is clearly a trained sheep or dog. I'm glad that the American people are waking up slowly and surely, and to the wealthy fucks and the powerful fucks, the political elite and all of these motherfuckers, all of you, we're coming to take our shit back. We are, and there's nothing you can do about it. See, we outnumber you, and we're about to start playing the game the way you do. Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
It's like that dangerous black person on the plantation who's always going around trying to read something or trying to figure things out, asking questions, trying to figure out how the plantation is run. That is a dangerous Negro on this plantation. Sell him down the river or give him a good whipping and stop him from being curious about serious things. Keep him in the silly mode. That is the category that black people are always supposed to be in. The silly mode, the destructive mode. Don't let them think about anything serious, because then they become a danger.
White people saw one Honey Nut Cheerios commercial and then speed ran oppression. They had their Jim Crow era, their crack epidemic. They had their Black Panther Party, which was also dismantled by the government. And by dismantled by the government, I mean the government hired them to be ICE agents. They had their March on Washington, which led to their civil rights movement. They even have their folk heroes. They have a Dick Gregory, a Rosa Parks, a Martin Luther King. And on top of all of this, now they're going to get reparations. Gang, y'all did it, man. Roll the credits, gang. Y'all did it, bro. That's tight as fuck, bro.
The anti-weaponization fund is for black people, and I can prove it. Oh yeah, baby, that $1.8 billion is ours. Especially when your vice president says the criteria is...
Check, we're going to take a lot of people who are going to apply and say that they have been mistreated by their government. We think it's reasonable to give them just compensation.
Here are 6 reasons why. First, the Homestead Act, the government gave away 1.6 million acres in land, and black people were systematically excluded. Wealth laws, $326 billion. 2, the Social Security Act of 1935, the government excluded agricultural and domestic workers, of which black people at that time constituted 60%. That's the GI Bill. 1.2 million black veterans returned from World War II. Banks refused these veterans loans, and nearly $33 billion in home loans went exclusively to white veterans. The Federal Housing Administration drew red lines around black neighborhoods and refused to insure mortgages there. From 1981 to 1996, the USDA denied loans to black farmers. Farm ownership dropped from 14% to just 1%. Next, the HBCU land grant funding gap. The government gave HBCU lands but refused to match the land with funds and the PPP. The government distributed $525 billion. However, black entrepreneurs received a 29% approval rate through banks, while white entrepreneurs received a 60% approval. And yes, slavery, absolutely, I'm going to include that. Because America benefited $14.2 trillion. I think we should flood the system with claims.
When they destroyed Tulsa's Black Wall Street, that was nothing compared to what they did in 1989. Because in 1989, they didn't just destroy one city's black business district. They destroyed every city's black business district. The Supreme Court had a case out of Richmond, Virginia. Richmond was a majority black city. They stipulated that if you had a construction contract, if you're the prime contractor, you have to subcontract 30% of the city's money to minority-owned companies. Now, black companies had never been allowed to do business in this country, and certainly not with the government. So we're trying to even the score just a little bit here. In majority black cities, 30% in a city that was over 50% black. The Supreme Court said no. Just because you've been discriminated against in the past doesn't mean you can actually try to remedy that now. Those programs all over the country, in places like Atlanta that have majority black city, places like Washington, D.C., majority black, all those programs were gutted. And to this day, black businesses are still struggling to do business with the government. And that's how you grow in this country. You have to do business with the government. That was the biggest terrorist attack that nobody taught you about in school.
Y'all believe that integration was the worst thing to happen to black people after slavery?
Oh God. Here's why. You had like black communities with qualified, just really talented teachers and principals and administrators that were, you know, in charge of our children. Our children spent 8 hours a day with people that loved them, that saw them, that heard them, that valued them, right? And then what you did is you said, but you guys have to go to that school now, and you have to spend 8 to 10 hours a day with people that hate you, right? And you pick up social cues from these people, right? And you start developing the characteristics of these people. And I think that that type of integration, you know, really caused more damage than we could ever account for.
I think they proved it this week. The South won. I think they proved it this week. The South won.
Oh, did they?
Because they can get rid of all the black voting districts now, and minorities don't matter, and pretty soon the blacks will be slaves again, probably. In a perfect America under John Roberts' Supreme Court and Brett Kavanaugh, they're all going to be. We're gonna take away all the rights of everybody that's not a white Christian.
Well, I mean, I think they showed.
I think I've decided to become Christian.
They showed you the future, right?
Islam, shalom, hola, aloha, bonjour, wasio, assalamu alaikum, konnichiwa, jumbo. This your brother Zach Day, Indigenous American Moor, coming to you live in full effect. Like, share, subscribe to my channel with the notification bell down below so you can be notified whenever I'm dropping some new content. Leave a comment, interact with me. I really do appreciate your viewership. You know, they always trying to silence voices like mine, so, you know, hit that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I'm dropping content. Share it, maybe leave a comment, interact with me. Thank you. Special thanks to like the full self, just always watching my content all the way through. I appreciate that watch time. Hopefully you enjoyed those videos at the beginning, and I might play a little more at the end just to help drive my point home. We're celebrating Memorial Day. Honors to the ancestors, the ones who came before, fighting away, fighting for every single scrap that they got from then all the way to now. I definitely do appreciate the struggle that they went through for all of us. Nothing was given to our people, the indigenous people of America, for free. We fought, our ancestors fought for every single piece of land, fought for every single allotment, fought for every single right that everyone is enjoying right now. Especially people who come from overseas and other nations, all right? Like, the fight has been so long, so continuous, a lot of people don't even realize that they're enjoying the fruits of our ancestors' struggles here in America, here, and they don't even pay the descendants any kind of respect, and it's time for that to end. All right, so-called black people, the Moors of America, the indigenous people, have fought in every single conflict since this nation was founded. All right, you know, that clip at the beginning definitely showed a lot of the history, told a lot of history on Memorial Day. You know what I'm saying? Honors to those ancestors who came before. All right, lately there's been a lot of talk about maybe I will say Jim Crow 2.0, the reemergence of this American slavery mentality, trying to re-legalize American chattel slavery, trying to bring that back. There's a lot of people talking about it. There's laws down in Louisiana, like anti-vagrancy laws. Pretty much, if you're homeless, unhoused, they can jail you for 2 years, give you a type of fine. If you can't pay the fine, you have to do labor, free labor inside the prison system. All right. They say debt prisons were outlawed. It seems like that's not the case if they're bringing back debt prisons. It's not the only one. There was a huge case that went viral a couple of weeks ago. There was a young man who was on trial and he was found guilty. He was handed a life sentence. I believe his criminal defense attorney, or it could have been the prosecutor, argued against a death penalty and voted instead to give him, and opted instead to give him a life sentence, saying that they can use his body for the labor. He's young and they have an aging prison population. All right, listen to that, an aging prison population, and they need more young bodies to use that sweat equity. He said sweat equity, in order to get all the use out of him as they can for his entire life as a slave. That's exactly what's going on, fam. Don't let them dress it up with any other kind of names or any kind of fancy words of art, of legalese. Don't let them dress it up, fam. It's exactly what it is. It's what our ancestors fought against. It's what the elders warned against. That fight is not done. All right, Jim Crow 2.0 is never going to come back. And it seems like the origin of these ideas comes from this Agenda 2030. Apparently, allegedly, the author of the Agenda 2030 went to school in order to study African American studies. And within those studies, he took note of all the milestones that our ancestors fought for and accomplished. Every single milestone that gave us the rights that we enjoy now, the freedoms that a lot of people enjoy now. And intentionally decided to target each of those milestones and reverse them. All right? And reverse each of those milestones on a legislative level. So by passing laws or getting the majority of the vote in certain districts, even in the Supreme Court, even in Congress, even in the Senate, by getting the majority votes in order to change parts of the Constitution, amendments, make ratifications to the Constitution. Different part, and that's not the Constitution for the United States of America, but constitutions for the states. Each and every state has its own constitution, family. We have to realize that. Every single state has its own constitution. And then we have the Constitution for the Union. That's the target. They're trying to reverse everything our ancestors fought for, and you better be prepared to fight against tyranny, to fight against slavery, to fight against racism. Even if those slavers and those racists look like they're the government, you have to be ready to do exactly what our ancestors did. Are you prepared to fight against racists, even if those racists look like they're the government? That's a question each and everyone has to ask themselves. We cannot sit idly by and let these things happen, and let all the work that our ancestors did, all the work that the elders did, be erased, be undone, and to slowly go back and to quietly go into that good night. We won't stand for it. You won't stand for it. I won't stand for it. Nobody's gonna stand for it. We the people hear that battle cry. This is your brother Zach Day, Indigenous American Moor. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. Peace. Hey, the water's getting hot. And a lot of people are not standing for it. Peace.
We have an update on Gwendolyn White. That's the 57-year-old woman who shot and injured the two attorneys a couple of days ago. Gwendolyn believes that the attorney, the Roseville Police Department, the judges, and the neighbors that she got into a dispute with are all connected to the KKK. Back in 2021, Gwendolyn called the Roseville Police Department. They showed up because she was having a dispute with her neighbors. The police officer spoke with Gwendolyn as well as the neighbors and said that it was nothing more than two neighbors having a dispute, so they left. Gwendolyn alleged that the neighbors confessed to stalking her, harassing her and her family, and also that they confessed to two murders that they committed. Roseville Police Department, they don't keep body cam footage more than 30 days if it's not used for evidence, so the footage was deleted. She also alleged that her 90-year-old mother passed away, and it was not due to natural causes. It was from the people that were involved in this that they murdered her mom. Gwendolyn felt like every time she went to court that she was not being heard. She tried to do things the right way and no one would listen to her. So that's when she decided to take matters into her own hands and did what she did and shot those two attorneys. People who live in that town with Gwendolyn say that they believe everything that she's saying, but you also have people who are saying that she is crazy and she made all this up. Y'all let me know what you think in the comment section.
The police had camera recorded evidence of her neighbors admitting to crimes, admitting to a bunch of shit, but because it wasn't used in a criminal investigation, they deleted it. That's why she went back and decided somebody needs to get shot. Unfortunately, stories like this are going to become so common because we've never been more fractured than we are right now, and every indication, based on the comments I've seen in my videos today, every indication shows we're not going to be united anytime soon. So y'all need to get ready. There's a video talking about, they're proudly talking about dismantling black voting rights, and black people are going to be slaves soon under a perfect idealized America. I hope y'all are ready. All of y'all out here, to the black women in my comments just going, you hate yourself, you hate black women, you won't take it. I hope y'all have somebody, some white man ready to protect you and save you for when that time comes. Black men, we've always been in our own, so. Turns out she died. This elderly woman died. That's why her daughter went to court and shot the two lawyers who were supposed to bring charges against the people who did that shit to her, and the lawyers refused to because, you know, white people always protect themselves. So the daughter went and shot them. And here's the funny thing, the daughter had a GoFundMe since June of last year to help her mother with expenses. So her mother, she only raised $1,431. She raised $1,431. This is the true face of black people. This is the true face of black people. And I'm gonna go ahead and still, y'all going to hate me for this, but you see, her mama and that generation, they listened to the white man say, get rid of it, break your home, because a full home with two parents would have had a fuck ton of men in that family to handle business. But when y'all be out here doing, I'm strong, independent, don't need no man. This is what happens when you're in your 90s. You have no males in your family. You have no men in your family. You have no one to fight for you. She has a GoFundMe. The GoFundMe is still up. And if she gets money to that GoFundMe, I'm sure it will go towards her defense for shooting the lawyers who refuse to prosecute the people who caused her mother to die. I'm going to put the link in the comments.
This video has had me emotional all morning because I've never seen people with white privilege use their privilege in this kind of way. Notice that everywhere he moves, they move. This little Asian woman is about to hop up here in these heels, and a white man with the leather coat put his arm around to make sure they didn't touch him. But look, they're never trying to touch the non-black person. Ever. This man in the back done grabbed his baton. For what? The only people being violent are the police. So if you ever try to tell me that your whiteness doesn't have any privilege, or your proximity to whiteness is not a privilege, look at this. They're not trying to touch anybody but the black man. This is what it looks like to be an accomplice.
You're all a bunch of fucking assholes. You know why? You don't have the guts to be what you want to be. You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.